can't take you back, I'm sorry. Strapped in a party, out of rock on hustle, I could never wear it.
Yo, this is Noah Cuz. I'm back again on the Splitmind channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make hard orchestral beats for Lil Baby from scratch. This could be something off of his last album with Lil Durk. It's going to be that hard string vibe, but I'm going to show you a couple tips to make them a little bit different. Before I start, all the drum sounds in this video are going to be in my drum kit, Noah Cuz Essentials Volume 1. Go cop it. It's going to be the first link in the description. If you guys do cop it, thank you, and make sure you send me the receipt on Instagram or through my email, and I'll make sure to send some bonus loops. But anyway, yeah, I'm just going to start breaking down this beat. So first, I'm going to play what the beat sounds like.
Noah, why you do that shit?
Alright, so this is the original sample. I made it at 162 BPM. Yeah, the piano I used is this Pink Road preset in Piano V2. I used this contact bank called the Grandeur for the low notes. I used this a flattish string library for the strings. For the last sound, I added this pad from Analog Lab. So the first sound I started with was this piano. I'm gonna play it without effects. So I just have the same chord playing over and over again, and basically this is the chord right here. You can see I duplicated the first and the third of the chord up an octave, and then added this middle note to make it a little bit darker. I also copied the fifth down an octave, and then I stacked the root notes. And then I just kind of played with the order of the notes on this one down here, just to give it more bounce. And then I also added an extra note on the sixth. And then finally, I just brought the first chord down 5 semitones to make it a 1-5 chord progression for the last chord. Alright, so this is what the piano sounds like with effects. For effects, I just added this reverb and then a good hertz low high. So the next sound I added were these low piano notes. Next, I went for these strings. I just did the same exact chords, but added this top line melody that I heard in my head, just playing around in the scale. And then at the end, I added this little fill and harmonized some of these notes. This is what the strings sound like with effects. For effects on those, I just have an EQ cutting out a lot of the lows and then boosting some of the upper mids. Then I have this Valhalla vintage verb, just adding a little bit of reverb. Next, I added this pad sound from Analog Lab, and this is what it sounded like originally. The sound was kind of random though, so I ended up rendering it out and then chopping it up to the part that I liked. And then you can see I just played the same chord for the first 3 bars. And then for the last one, I brought it down 5 semitones like I did before. For effects on that one, I added this EQ, just with a pretty normal band pass. Next, I added this reverb. Next, I added good hertz low high. Next, I added Soothe 2, just taming some of the resonance. Next, I added Shaper Box, just making it pan left and right. I brought the mix down some. And then finally, I added this good hertz mid-side matrix, just to make it a little bit more stereo. The last sound I added was this percussion loop. These are the effects I added: EQ, low high, and another EQ. I also did some channel EQ down here. This is what the perk loop sounds like. So next I just bounced out all the sounds and then structured it. I kind of just like took away some parts and just kind of made like as many variations I could think of that a producer would want. I also started having more sounds in and then gradually brought it down as the sample goes on. And then at the end, I decided to stem the entire thing out if people want to structure it out themselves. Next, I bounced out the sample and I added these master effects. I added a sound shifter just to pitch it down 2 semitones. Next, I added this phaser and I just synced it to 2 bars. Next, I added this EQ just to tame some of the side frequencies. Then I added this mid-side matrix. Next was wow control, just giving it a little bit of wow. Next, I added this low-high, just cutting a few of the high frequencies. Next, I added this good hertz lossy, and that just kind of degrades it a little bit more. Next, I added this soothe 2, and that's taming some of the resonance again. And then finally, I added a limiter to make it super loud. So that's the entire sample. Now I'm going to show you guys what I did for the drums on it. Alright, so I dragged the sample into this new project file, and then I changed the BPM to 154. I added this EQ just to bring back some of the upper mids because I dropped it down. And then I also automated this low cut just to cut out some of the lows when the 808s come in. And you can see I automated that with this automation clip. My master preset is just this fruity parametric EQ, 3.2 on the highs, 1.6 on the mids, and 3.2 on the lows. And then a default soft clipper right after. I'll get into this reverb in a second. So I'm just gonna get straight into the drums. Like I said, all these drums are in my new drum kit, Noah Cuz Essentials Volume 1. So this is what the 808 sounds like. So I just did a really simple 808 pattern for these notes right here. And then right here, I decided to add 2 just to give it more bounce. And then here I added another note right here and then did these rolls just all over, just giving it more bounce. You can see I also messed with the velocities a little bit. And then at the end, I just went crazy with the pitch. I think this one ended up being in the 8th octave, and I kind of just made it go down and then back up, and it just sounds crazy, adds a cool bounce. So I really like it. Next, I went for this simple clap. Next, I added this counter snare. I'm gonna play it with the clap. So next I went for this hi-hat, and I just did a 2-step hi-hat pattern, but I took out some notes on the 2 and the 4. After that, I added some like low bounce notes down here, and I did a couple of these rolls at the end of each 2-bar pattern. This one stays at the same pitch, but this one goes down in pitch. And then I just copied those 4 bars over for the second half. For the second half of the hook, I layered the clap with this snare. And then I also brought in this open hat. And then to lead into that open hat, I duplicated it and then did this like cool reverse thing. It's kind of like the 808 reverse trick, but with open hats instead. That's fire. The last drum sound that I added was this kick, and I just have it hitting on the 1 and the 4. So the mixing is pretty simple on this one. I have the kick and the 808 hitting at around plus 3 dB. With the EQ and the soft clipper, it makes it sound good. Those numbers are going to be different if you use a different master preset. It all depends on what you put on the master. I don't have anything on the clap, I just have it hitting around -6. So next for this hi-hat, I added the shaper box, just making it pan left and right. Then I brought the mix down quite a bit. Then I added this looperator. This shit's like massive on my screen, but I just have this reverse right here and then some reverb down here. Nothing on the open hat, just some reverb on the reverse open hat. Nothing on the snare. I have this hi-hat bust to this track called hi-hat low, and then I just have a halftime with 100% mix on it. And I just brought it super low in the mix, but I drowned it in reverb just because I wanted the reverb on the half-timed hi-hat, but not on the actual hi-hat. You can see that I have a lot of these drums bust to this reverb track right here. This just has a Valhalla vintage verb on it, and it just kind of gives the entire beat some ambience. On that low snare, I boost some of the low mids and then cut some of the highs just to make it fit in the mix better. So the last sound is this effects. I time stretched it, and then added an EQ, cutting some harsh frequencies and making it super narrow. And the last thing I did was I added this reverb intro like I do a lot. I used this preset in Rooms called Ambient Tiled Room, and then I just played with the mix. I also brought up the low cut just a little bit, and you can see I started with the mix kind of high, and then I kind of like faded it out in the intro. You can also see that I brought it back in for the outro too when the beat fades out. But yeah, that's basically the entire beat. It's super simple, but it hits hard, and I could definitely hear Lil Baby on it. So yeah, like I said, all the drum sounds in this video are in my drum kit, Noah Cuz Essentials Volume 1. It's going to be the first link in the description. If you guys cop it, send me your receipt on Instagram at Noah Cuz or through my email. You'll see it in the kit, and I'll be sure to send you some bonus loops. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like. Go follow me on Instagram at Noah Cuz. I'm trying to run it up on there. But yeah, leave in the comments what you want to see next. Make sure you subscribe to Splitmind. Go check out the kit, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.